about it and do something!
Suck my dick, Earth, with that bullshit.
Really?
It's like a gentle hate.
Do we have another benevolent star here? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Are you benevolent? Is your friend?
My name is Logan Paul, and I think I'm coming out of the flat earth closet.
This is so fucking depressing. I can't be a flat earth person.
You can't have it both ways. You can't have a flat earth and things making sense.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Gem's Flat Earth Sunday Roast. In tonight's show, we answer the questions you were afraid to ask, such as, has Kim Jong-un injected himself with disinfectant? How can you have sex and still maintain social distancing? And why isn't there anything better than this to watch? All this and more as we spend a couple of hours looking at the best and worst of internet lunacy. I am your host, Gem, and joining me this evening, as always, are all the cool kids from the Debate Flat Earth and More Discord server. They are Lewis, Kosho, Curved, and Cat Earth. Have I got everyone? Oh, and Curved. Did I say Curved? Good evening, guys.
I mean, Scott as well. Scott.
It's Scott. Did Scott actually make it?
He did.
No, he's just making noise as usual.
He just bought a crappy mic as usual.
Yeah. Welcome in.
Good evening, everyone. And joining us this evening, our very special guest. He's the man who brought you the space comet. It's Conspiracy Catz.
Hi, guys. Right then.
Hello! How are we doing? You alright?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Not so bad. Did you know there's a baby goat called the Space Comet now? Somebody's named a farmer named a baby goat Space Comet.
That's awesome. It's good to see you, mate. I'm so glad you came back to see us. It was last time you were with us was when we had the Behind the Curve crew. So that's a good while ago, wasn't it?
It was great fun. And you know, I always listened because I'm usually in bed asleep when you're on. Obviously, I'm not working tomorrow with the lockdown, but I always listen on the way to work and on the way back on a Monday. So yeah, I've not been here, but I've definitely been listening to what you've been getting up to.
Cool. Good to see you anyway. Yeah, I've seen you in the chat a few times, so. Right then, let's get on with it. We've got loads to get through this evening, and you've just heard the beginning of some of it.
I didn't get a chance to watch any of these ahead of time, so this is going to be a surprise.
Oh, yes. Well, it's a jamboree for you this evening then. So, there isn't much going on that's flat Earth these days. However, the beginning of this week saw some of the flatties in a bit of an excited frenzy. Here is longtime flatty and mudtard Martin Liedtke with a special news bulletin. Oh, I'm in the wrong place again. Hang on, let me wazz it on a bit. Well, talk amongst yourselves for 10 seconds.
Mudtard, I liked that. That's
yeah,
good.
It's a new one. Yeah. He's a mud flooder. Right, here we
go. Flat Earth British, Matt Leaker speaking. Hi, guys. Right then, the situation is this. I'm not really sure what is going on, but I'm having emails in. First one was from Lee, Flat Earth British sub. It says, go outside, Matt, because there's hundreds of planes at high altitudes going in a northeasterly direction. He's gone up and checked for the second time. They've turned their lights off, but they're still there. And now another email, and this is all in the last 20 minutes or so, guys. So if you're in the UK, can you get out your gardens and see what's going on, please? So I had another message just now off of Gary Keane, who said he's just wondering what the hell's going on. He just witnessed movers of dozens and dozens. He reckons that was about 30 minutes ago. So any news? Yeah, any news is everyone is seeing them in the UK. So Lee is surmising that they're getting out, as in escaping. Now, I hope that's not the case, but they could be warplanes. They're high altitude, and they're going east. So where's that? Are they going to the Middle East? Are they going to China? Who even knows? You just saw about 60 evenly. That's it. They're evenly spaced. That's what he's witnessed. Right. They're evenly spaced. Oh, what the fuck? And they went west to east. looking like high altitude balloons, and they are spaced out as well, which is, you know, this is for like formation flying. You know, I don't think balloons would, or they're not balloons. Balloons wouldn't adhere to, you know, formation flying. They would be subject to the winds and fly fucking anywhere. So they are definitely not balloons, right? So they're planes. It was loud and it was leaving Stansted. So isn't Comet broken up? Yeah, well, they're still saying Goldie Gilda is going to make an appearance in a week or so. And apparently we was about to have a fantastic light show. But then I seen like somebody sent me a link, a little scientific sort of study saying that is probably maybe causing now and is sucking the oxygen off. And when it bypasses, it's going to like suck all the oxygen off. So that is one thing that's flying around concerning this light show that may happen. Because it's a pandemic and hundreds of military planes have just flown over. This is where we come in. Reporting. Isn't it? Yeah, that's right. In fact, this is beautiful. This is what's happened. Don't you think, Mel, with the Truther channels, they've come into their own, haven't they? You know, every single one of them just posting really important, taking risks, videos, you know, risking their channels, risking a knock at the door on all of this. They're not really bothered. Just, they knows that this is the time, you know. There's no fucking around. What's the worst thing that can happen? You know, a pandemic, a war. Anything can happen now. Anything's on the table. Don't worry about it anymore. Okay, 2 nights ago, saw 30 to 60 of No You Never person of Earth. You've never seen anything SpaceX, anything. I'm sorry to tell you. Okay, sorry to shatter your illusions. And I got something else to tell you as well. After all this shit is over with, all that just globe stuff, it's not going to be worth a pinch of salt. It was killed, funnily enough, about a month before they decided to reset civilization, when Mag Sargent appeared on breakfast telly with, you know, Horny Willoughby and the other one, what's his name, Phil Schofield, saying about Black Swan killing the globe, which it did, because it's impossible. That scenario for any intellect to look at, it is impossible. So, and like maybe 2-3 weeks after that, they decided to reset civilization. It might be just a quinky dink, but you never know. Comet asteroid related. Well, it is encoded through our reality that asteroids, which comets, reset civilization, and that's the end of it. Cometh the comet. That's why, you know, the words are actually the same. Starlink, well, I think, and there's a lot of people thinking that it is celestial by nature, because if you're into astronomy in any way, there's going to be some incredible lineups, and for some reason, I just broke a dream. I just broke a fucking dream, man. I just broke a dream. I was dreaming that I don't know, I was saying to somebody that the fucking plough was in the completely wrong part of the sky. Just flown over. We got film. Oh, fuck me, guys. Oh, it's on my Facebook. And my phone just died. Oh, shit, I can't present on you, can I? Oh, I suppose you can click that link there. That's not good, guys. They're formations, they're not balloons. That's definitely aircraft. How do we know that they're not visitors? We don't even know what this place is. You know, the Phoenicians arrived from the water, guys. You know, and they're, you know, sea peoples. You know, we know nothing about this place, guys. They might have come through. They might have come through. This might be. They might have been just keeping us all in because they're in the shit as much as us. All we know, guys. There's been hundreds and hundreds of planes flying over England. They'll be going in a westerly direction, apparently then turning north or going north. Hundreds of them in formation, and they're going somewhere. So we're wondering whether A, they're fucking off somewhere and escaping before an event, or they're going to some war, or there's something that we have no idea what's happening in these hundreds and hundreds of planes. Brent, we can't tell, mate, but that information, as far as I know, right? Commercial jets do not fly in formation, as far as I know. Okay, I don't even know if they have formation training. So I would say they were squadrons. Yeah, I would say they were military. Yeah, and if they were escaping, would they be in a straight line across the sky in such a manner in commercial jets? No, they wouldn't be. No, I don't think they would be. Yeah, I think the military. Yeah.
Can we make it? The end?
Yeah, that's the end.
All right. Wow.
My word.
When the simplest explanation cannot possibly be true.
Yeah. Someone actually said Starlink to him, and he went,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's connected with celestial bodies or something like that.
Sorry to shatter your dreams there. Yeah. No possible way.
What I don't get is somebody that's been like who's so deep into in like conspiracies and the flat Earth, etc. You know, they all claim to be asking questions and researching. How can you be so caught off guard by the fact that these satellites are passing overhead? You know, how can that have evaded your high IQ research? You know what I mean? How can that possibly surprise you?
Yeah, they should have been watching for these things.
Exactly. So they could debunk them.
Right. It's going to become harder and harder. Although I did hear somebody say something about they're trying out new sort of coatings for these satellites now so that they're less reflective, I think. Have you heard that?
No, I haven't. What would the advantage to that be?
Well, because there are a lot of people, you know, astronomers, I guess, mostly complain about the light pollution that it's going to cause. And you know, it's going to kind of mess up the night sky with a sort of grid of stuff, isn't it? You know.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
I had heard that. Like I thought after the first round when they set them off, people were complaining about it. So they said like the next ones they were gonna have like maybe a black underneath or something like that. But yeah, some way to offset the light.
I always thought it was kind of essential that your satellite was reflective in order to keep it cool, though. Or
that's what I would have thought. Yeah.
I did read something on the BBC about the angle of the solar panels of them working on remotely changing the angle of the panels because apparently they're causing a lot of the reflection our way.
Right. Yeah, I guess that could be a way. You could have it so that the sides of it changed angle so that it didn't reflect back at Earth. That would work.
That seems like the simplest solution and most economic too, because then you don't have to add weight of the non-reflective paint and whatever else would come with that.
Well, I'd heard somewhere, I read some article about a sort of a weapons idea. The idea being that if you are involved in a war now with a superpower, the first thing you'd want to do is take down their satellites because they're totally reliant on them to communicate with their forces. And a way to do that would be to just spray black paint on the satellite because that would stop it from reflecting, it would overheat, and it would, to the operators on the ground, it would just die. They wouldn't, you know, they would maybe detect a rise in temperature and it would die. But they wouldn't have any indication that it had been attacked by anyone. So I don't know. But I guess there are cleverer people than me working on this.
Well, why do they need to stop them shining? I don't understand why it's that big a deal.
Because
so it doesn't freak out Martin.
Well, certainly that would be a thing, wouldn't it? But I think for astronomers, they don't like it, and there are a lot of people around the world that do astronomy, aren't there?
Oh, okay. So yeah, it's really okay.
Any kind of long-term exposure for anything like that would just be decimated, wouldn't it?
Right. Yeah, it's going to you'd have a big streak across it, wouldn't you? I guess.
I love the look of them though. Like me, I'd make them bright. You know, I love watching them fly overhead.
Yeah.
I know. I must admit, I thought it looked absolutely cool. I haven't seen it sort of live, as it were, but I've only seen it on video. But I do think it looks cool. I've seen the ISS a couple of times, and I was mighty impressed. I have to say, just to see that was very exciting. Just to see it pop up right at the moment it's supposed to, where it's supposed to, and just have it fly over me. I was surprised how bright it was.
Yeah, it was. I saw it for the first time about a week ago at work. That somebody at work was like, "Hey, ISS is going to pass over at about 9:30," and we went out, and there it was. It was really cool.
It's awesome, isn't it? It's worth. It's quite an inspiring sight, I think.
Yeah, it goes really fast, faster than any airplane I've ever seen. So.
Right.
Very cool.
It didn't hang around long. A couple of years ago on Christmas Eve, didn't the on it, and I don't know if they did it in America, but or they published it in America, but in the UK it was like take your kids out because he changed the lights to make them all red and stuff, and it was tell your kids it's Santa's sleigh, and it looked brilliant.
Wow.
Oh, that's good.
That would have been good. Awesome.
Or it could have actually been Santa's sleigh. I don't know. Like,
Yeah. You use one lie to cover up another. So.
I love the idea of Martin thinking that Philip Schofield and Holly Willoughby have got anything to do with the resetting of civilization. It's like civilization's going to be reset. That's where I wanted to start.
Because Mark Sargent went on there and told them about the Black Swan. You know, it's funny how they, you know, when you watch these people, their world, and I guess for me this is probably partly true for me as well, but their world sort of collapses into just YouTube and a few sort of things surrounding YouTube, and that becomes their entire reality. You know, it's odd to see. Anyway, on that depressing note,
let's look at some more YouTube.
Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Okay. So, as we leave behind one nation of people with an unhealthy interest in sheep, we go straight to another, Australia. And the exciting news, I'm going to
hang on, that was a bit racist.
I'm going to get into trouble for that one,
Okay,
aren't I?
alright.
And the exciting news that a flat earther has made it onto Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. What could possibly go wrong?
Nursery hand, tell us what's happening.
So we grow like plants and tomatoes and vegetables that you see in like Bunnings or plant nurseries.
Yeah.
So grow them from seed and pop them off and go from there.
Fantastic. Raquel's your mum. Hi, Raquel.
Hi.
It's good to see you. Now tell me about this. You've got the earth is flat.
The earth is flat,
The earth is flat.
Yep.
Are you passionate about the concept of a flat earth?
Obviously, yeah. Got a shirt that says it.
Oh, well, there you go.
Well, yeah, it has to be.
So tell me about your flat earth theory.
Well, it's not really a theory when it's true, but okay, well,
Prove it to me that
prove it to you.
the earth is
Okay,
flat.
where would you like me to start? I need to prove for a ball first.
Okay, well tell me first of all, what is at the end of the flat earth?
What's at the end of space? How can you have an answer for one question, not have an answer for another question?
But is the earth not finite?
It just depends, like, well, we can't even say that because we can't actually go anywhere below Antarctica or outside of Antarctica because of the Antarctic Treaty. I'd love to, but you can't.
What do you think of space travel that shows the earth?
I just laugh at it. It's pretty funny. So it's the best joke I've ever heard.
The best joke? You don't like space travel?
The car in space and all that. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's like, the Earth is truly a globe, 40,075 kilometers, 100,000 kilometers in equatorial circumference. There's no curvature anywhere.
Right.
Like, I live on top of the mountains and I can see the city. No curvature whatsoever.
I went up the plane.
Yeah.
I went to Concord once and you could see the curvature there.
Wow, that was great.
Yeah.
I bet it was.
It was
Yeah, you saw it.
I did, yeah.
Yeah? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
Maybe my cameras are broken. Maybe they're all got fisheye lenses. I don't know.
I don't know, Ashley. But anyway, I don't know what's going on. Here we go. Ash, which of these words is spelled correctly? Misdirect, misspell, misfit, misnomer.
I'm not good at spelling or grammar at all, so this is going to be a guess.
7, 6.
Go for C. Lock and C, Eddie.
Lock and C. Of course it would be misspelled, wouldn't it? The other words only have one S. Misdirect is one S.
Oh, I got it wrong.
Which of these words is...
Okay, come on now. That clip has got to go viral, surely. When did that happen? That's amazing.
It popped up this week sometime.
Oh my god.
Brilliant.
I have to say, though, I'll say this in her favour. Actually, well, one thing, she's a very attractive young lady.
Oh, yeah.
And her mum wasn't bad either. Look, I'm 55. I'm 55. It's more acceptable for me to say that about her mum than it was about her, right?
Okay.
But I will say this. I don't think that was an easy first question. I'm not saying it was a difficult question, but a first question on Millionaire is usually something a lot easier than that, don't you think?
Yeah. But it made for great TV, Jem. So
I know.
Was a brilliant headline.
So was she set up?
Possibly.
I'm becoming a conspiracy theorist. You know, I'm really getting really good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been spending too much time with them. It's rubbing off.
I've noticed that. I've stopped. All the fire I used to have is I just kind of I don't need that anymore. I just kind of start to listen to them more. Does that mean it doesn't make sense to you? All right. So
just listen to them less, Lewis.
Yeah, I know. I thought it was interesting. Like she learned the scripts really well. Like she was saying, she's clearly listened to all the same people we've been listening to.
Definitely, hadn't she? All the lines we know and love.
Yeah, word for word. I wouldn't be surprised if I've talked to her before. It's uncanny.
And I like the way he said to her. He said, "So give me your proof for a flat Earth." And the first thing she said was, "Well, I'd need your proof for a globe first."
Yeah.
Oh, now there's a well-trained flat earther if ever I saw one.
Yep.
Immediately shift the burden of proof.
Live on television.
Yeah.
It was pretty merciful of them to go ahead and get her out of there as soon as possible. Not tease her. With any false hope get anywhere on this show. But yeah, absolutely would most definitely smash.
Yeah.
It looks like she might need some consoling.
Yeah.
It should be worth looking into to finding this person.
I think her mother needed some
am I good?
consoling. You could see she felt some deep embarrassment for that moment.
I think she's probably.
You ever seen that?
With her daughter walking around the flat t-shirt.
You ever seen American Idol when it seems like they bring like the really crappy people to the like they show their
right
their
yeah. I know what you mean, yeah.
Right. So I think that obviously they pull those people up because they suck so bad and they want to like present them. I think that they probably just like found out she was a flat earther at some point and were trying their best to just get her on the show and ask the stupidest question and just get her off there.
Well, we didn't see it, but usually, and I'm not the Australian version is slightly different to ours from what I could see, but usually you have to win a fastest finger first round, don't you, to get in the hot seat?
Oh yeah, something like that. Yeah.
You know, they say, you know, put these thingies in order, and you go CBDA, and it's the first one to do that, right? And so I don't know, but they had a system where you can pass a question as well, which we don't have. So, but she didn't have that option. It said at the top of the screen there, it said can't pass. So I don't really know quite what their rules were. But anyway, poor girl, she will be forever remembered for that, I guess.
Will go viral, for sure. That absolutely will go viral.
It's classic.
I wonder if they'll have her back on in like a year, you know, and when she's not a flat earther anymore.
Right.
And then she win the million. Evolution.
All right, well, next, since following up with that opportunity to be a millionaire, a lost opportunity, here is an opportunity for you all to make some money. A lot of money. Well, actually, not money, but gold. Real gold, I tell you. Don't believe me? Well, maybe you just aren't gullible enough. Here is someone who is gullible enough, Queen Flatty Karen B, to tell us all about it. Oh, need some sound.
Who are buying into the mainstream lies, who believe that there is a real virus going around that is contagious, that there is a real pandemic, that all the empty hospitals is just a calm before the storm, that all the nurses getting laid off across the country is, nothing to worry about, not at all. And you think the coronavirus is real? Well, put your money where your mouth is, like this person is. Here we have coronavirus gold bounty. The coronavirus gold bounty. I have been asked to publish this gold bounty by a small anonymous group of people who are offering bounty in the amount of 20 kilograms of 0.999 fine gold bullion for evidence of the coronavirus under the following criteria. Premise 1. The coronavirus is a communicable virus and it is killing people as reported. Premise 2. There is no coronavirus and no one is contagious. However, many cells in your body already have microzymata that already produce disease that a healthy immune system normally removes. The 5G microwave radiation can then rupture these cells and release too many microzymata at once, overwhelming your weakened immune system and then kill you. Most people have a very weakened immune system because they are overweight, have bad habits such as vaping, smoking, too much alcohol, or are on opioids, especially for allergies and autoimmune disorders, or even illegal drugs. People have been programmed by movies for several decades with incorrect information about viruses so that they will be terrorized and do what they are told. The Corona bounty of 20 kilobars of gold is offered by this anonymous group. Let's call it the Gold Bounty Group under the following terms. 1. List independent scientific studies with full disclosure of funding sources proving the existence of the so-called coronavirus or COVID-19. 2. Provide videographic or photographic evidence of the actual virus, including the identity of the photographer, scientists involved in the equipment used to take the photograph or video, including calibration data of the equipment, source of funding, and location of the laboratory. Scientifically verifiable evidence that this virus is contagious. Evidence of the origin of the virus, including time, date, and location. Evidence that this virus is not a biological weapon engineered by man. Evidence that any one person may be a risk to the public safety or health and well-being of anyone. Evidence that anyone who has purportedly died from this so-called virus could not have possibly died from any other cause. Evidence of documented cases where people died, such that the evidence and cause of death can be independently and scientifically verified that the cause of death could have been nothing other than the virus, and full disclosure of all related funding sources used. Proof that shutting down society is less of a public safety risk than treating infected people just like any other flu or virus. Proof that this virus is an epidemic or pandemic by traditional standards and criteria. Proof that the public safety claims are true and accurate based upon scientifically verifiable evidence. My office may be contacted on behalf of the Gold Bounty Group. And this man's name is John J. Singleton. singletonpress@protonmail.com, www.aceofcoins.com. All data satisfying these criteria must be included in documents, and any data or samples that cannot be included within documents shall be securely stored and referenced in documents so that they can be reviewed by an independent body of scientists and forensic experts. These documents must be labeled and uploaded to a secure website, and then the website must be published for all to review and comment before any consideration for the payment of the bounty is made. The documentary evidence will be reviewed by an independent body of scientists and forensic experts, and its results will be published. A worldwide survey will be taken, and the results also published determine if the evidence warrants the payment of the gold bounty. If no one claims or is eligible to claim the gold bounty within a reasonable time, the responsible individuals of the government agencies and associations that are promoting the virus scare may be subject to civil and criminal prosecution for acts of terrorism and human rights violations under international law, very much like the Nuremberg trials. So there you have it. There's your challenge. Prove Corona is real, and you get $2 million in gold bullion.
I don't know exactly how they're what grounds they're gonna have to sue the government. I mean, it's because no one took them up on their offer.
I know it's. I mean, I thought that was worth including because she presented it as if it's something that we should all take seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought it was so absurd. You know, they're going to pay in gold, and they've got like a Proton Mail email address, like all good drug dealers. And, you know, it was just, I don't know, just weird that she thought that was actually a thing, you know?
It's incredible.
$250,000.
On the website. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just saying $250,000, and she asked for a picture of a virus. And isn't that impossible? Like, aren't they too small?
No, you can get. In fact, the coronavirus we already have got electron microscope, or is it scanning tunneling microscope images of the COVID-19 virus.
Wow.
I mean,
sorry.
No, go ahead, Catz. I'm sorry.
No. I'm pretty much done there.
It seems like they've already included in their list of criteria. Like, they started out with a list of what you need to do, and that list very quickly turned into all the ways that they're going to deny your evidence.
Right, yeah.
It's like, first thing, provide evidence that everything we're being told is true, and then second, here's the way it actually is, guys.
Right.
On the same list. It's the same list. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's the arrogance of it that gets me, though. You know, we're the people they're talking to who've got the electron microscopes and the resources to do what they want. You know, I think they've got their hands full at the minute.
Right.
You know, concentrating on the actual and the arrogance of them. Just like, use all your resources. It's like the flat earthers who say, right, I want you to turn Hubble around and point it at the Earth. You know, like, yeah, because we've got nothing better to do with all these resources.
Right.
You know, the arrogance of it is just incredible.
And you often these things, I think, are tools. You often hear them referred to later on, don't you? Oh, well, I've had this $2 million challenge running for 6 months and no one has responded to it, to sort of support their bullshit, you know.
Yeah. You'd think if you had $2 million, maybe you could just figure it out yourself.
Right. But why would you want to pay someone in gold bullion? What's that all about? You know, that's sort of an odd way to do it, don't you think?
Yeah, maybe it's like in the back of their mind, they're thinking that, well, currency is losing its value, but gold
Gold
won't. So this challenge will age well with time.
I think you're right. I think that's what it is, isn't it? It's
a symptom of their incredibly warped perception of reality.
Yeah, it will. That challenge will continue to be valid even in the Mad Max dystopian future that we're all headed towards.
In which 20 kilograms of gold will be worth so much.
Right. Yes. But it might buy your way into that. You know, that sort of corral of buses in the desert where all the petrol is, you know. It might get you in there, you know. They might be able to use it for tooling or something. Or maybe producing dystopian future electronic items, perhaps.
Yeah.
It's just an idea.
Okay, all right.
All right, we should probably get on with it. Now, you may remember a couple of weeks ago in our roundup of fake medical professionals, we featured a woman claiming to be a medical professional, telling us all that if viruses were real, we should all have AIDS. You know, the one whose extensions were too vast and too silky to go in the hairnet of the nurse's costume she had borrowed from somewhere. Well, she is back, and she is understandably very excited because she has apparently saved the world all by herself. Here is supposed medical professional hearing crystal clear to tell us more.
Hi guys, Hearing Crystal Clear here, and I am here to report major breaking news. Oh my God, this is a victory. First and foremost, I want to say thank you, God. Okay? Thank you to the Most High, because without him, me bringing the news or me sharing a part of myself wouldn't have been possible. Okay? And my sole purpose was to uncover the uncensored truth, okay? They wasn't giving you the truth. But you got to remember, crystal clear was, because right now, me putting my neck on the line has bought us victory. And due to that, the CDC and the World Health Organization, Bill Gates and Dr. Fauci has been dumped. Okay? Okay? Life will start to resume in May. I don't know why we got to wait that long, but I think we can all go back to resuming life as now. Remember all those videos I told you, do not stay at home and to get out? It was for a good reason. You are being had, okay? You are being had, and it is now stated, okay, that they lied, okay? They lied. Everybody in the game lied to you about the COVID, which actually means Certificate of Vaccination Identification, that started in 2019. So if you go around hearing anybody saying, oh, I got COVID, no, you don't. America, you're lying. No one has COVID. I'm going to bring you a video that will all put this all together perfectly. Let's hear a word from Brother Islam. I love him. Do your thing, brother. We see you.
Islam like a family, brother. Reza Islam right here with some magnificent information and
we got victory.
Turn of events that you more than likely didn't think was going to happen for another, I don't know, ever.
Time out. Oh, yeah. Nobody's getting vaccinated because of this girl. But here we go.
Well, it seems that Mr. Bill Gates, along with many different funders, have now been dumped. Officially. The United States government has now, according to the Surgeon General, decided to get rid of the model that they were going to use, which was Bill Gates, which is everybody's going to get vaccinated. Well,
thank you, Brother Islam. Thank you. Okay, now, when I started this journey, I got a lot of trolls, okay? I got a lot of people who said I was lying, said I was a fraud. Excuse me. Number one, I'm human. And everything I say, you can research, check, verify, okay? This is a huge victory because I stopped the world from getting vaccinated by a crazed lunatic. Are you kidding me? Okay. Hearing crystal clear here. Listen, subscribe to my channel. Come back to your girl. We got the uncensored truth right here with Crystal, okay? I'm not going to lie to you. I only have your health, your wealth, your growth, and your spiritual abundance, in mind. That's it. I just want to be here for you because I love you, okay? I don't want to see you struggle. I don't want to see you die. I dang sure don't want to see the government run a scam on you. I mean, geez, how long have y'all been in this toxic relationship? Okay? I am here to do good, okay? And I thank you, God, for leading me to what I needed to do. And don't let nobody else tell you, Crystal started this movement, okay? I did it on my own. It didn't look right. It didn't feel right. And I did what was right, okay? Every conspiracy theorist that you put down and said was wrong, crazy, stupid, a raging lunatic is now your daddy, your master. We are your granddaddy. We own you. Because for years and years, we've been telling you that they're trying to kill you, that they're out for you. And now, we truthers are right. We will no longer be addressed as conspiracy theories. We'll be addressed as truthers because we are real, logical, intellectual human beings that search for the truth where there is none.
We search for the truth where there is none.
Look, she only has your abundance in her mind.
That's true.
Wow. So how many subscribers? Like, is she a big influence? Because she's taking an awful lot of credit on her own shoulders, isn't she?
Well, I think her video did go viral. Her first
Went
one.
mega viral, yeah.
Oh, did it? All right.
Yeah, mega viral.
She was in this sort of. She appeared to be in a hospital wearing this nurse's outfit. She'd got a hairnet on, but she'd got all of that. None of her hair was in the hairnet. all of her hair was sort of over her shoulders, hanging over her shoulders. So she looked odd, and she made various claims about viruses not being real, and if viruses were real, we would all have AIDS because AIDS would be everywhere, and it was all sorts of nonsense that she came out with, wasn't it? And it had a similar flavour about how she couldn't do this on her own, and why was she having to do it all? So,
Apparently, she can. She did it.
Yeah.
We've all been saved, and all conspiracy theorists are vindicated. I'm not sure what we're gonna do now, guys.
well, the least we could do is subscribe to her.
That's the least.
And donate, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the job done. She did well there.
Yeah, I think most of these people have been dumped from YouTube. Actually, I think.
Yeah.
Although their crap is everywhere, of course, you can always find it.
See, what I don't think helps with this situation, and I might be speaking slightly out of turn here, but I think that when we use the term conspiracy and we talk about the COVID-19, obviously I don't believe in any of the 5G nonsense, etc. But for me personally, I think there has been some sort of delay, at least delay, or in China, if not cover up about how severe things was before it broke out of China. And I think a lot of the more rational conspiracy theorists who were talking about what's gone on in China to sort of delay us acting on the virus before it came out, I think they are the ones who maybe might feel like they're being justified, and the other conspiracy theorists are jumping on the back of that. I don't know, maybe not. What do you guys think? Do you think there's any
well
in China? Or?
Definitely.
I actually what would be the word? I actually generated a conspiracy theory surrounding this myself yesterday off the back of a comment by a flat earther. Shall I take a minute to tell you this story?
Yes.
Okay. So
Jim, you are going down the rabbit hole.
I know. But I heard a nurse Kate Shimarani, who we're going to see later in the show. She made the claim that vaccinations were mandatory in China, generally, not just for coronavirus, okay? And I thought, is that true? So I went to check. So I Google, are vaccinations mandatory in China? And one of the first things that comes up is this document. It's a scientific paper by some Chinese, I think they're like social psychologists or something like that. And they're looking into why, although vaccinations are mandatory in China, the take-up rate is very low, and why this is. And the reason that they identify for this is a thing called I can't remember the name of it now. It's something like the Shandong vaccination incident. And it's where hundreds of thousands of substandard vaccinations were sent out and injected into people. And the Chinese press got hold of this, and they, I think, made a bit of a meal of it and sort of suggested that these vaccinations could actually make people ill or give them the illness that the vaccination was supposed to prevent. When in actual fact, I think really the vaccinations probably just wouldn't do anything. They just wouldn't. The person wouldn't be protected, but it wouldn't have any adverse effect. But anyway, there were about 600,000 of these went out, and they went out from two companies. One of them, which distributed 400,000 of them, was the Wuhan Institute of Biological Products. Now, this is not the research institute. This is a private company that is in Wuhan that was involved in distributing substandard vaccinations and was involved in bribing officials, okay? And now that company has been given it's one of the companies that's been cleared for testing a vaccination by the World Health Organization. And so my conspiracy is that this company released this virus deliberately in order that they could produce a vaccination for it, which they could sell across the world for billions of dollars. How do you like it?
I like it.
Like it?
Yeah. It is. I've been told that, of course, a few objections were raised to this when I mentioned it earlier on. Like, they wouldn't make billions of dollars, and lots of other people are making vaccinations, and there would be easier ways for them to make money and stuff. But needless to say, what we can say from this, that there is dodgy goings on in these areas in China, without a doubt. That's what I would say to follow up on what you said, Catz, really.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. And I don't know if you guys follow. Oh no, I got in a load of trouble last time I said that. But Paul Joseph Watson did what I thought was a really good video on. Oh God, I wish I could find the link and I'll put it in the chat. But he did a really good video about the origins of it in China and sort of like the elements of the cover up to start with. I thought that was really fascinating. Did anyone see that?
I haven't seen that one in particular, but I will look at it.
I have seen some about, the very first guy that came out. I mean, they did awful things to him, didn't they, before he died of it.
Isn't there videos of them locking people in buildings and just like welding the building shut and letting them all die?
There is, yeah.
I mean, come on, like this country.
Well, I think it was said that was. I think an explanation I did hear was that there was some sort of overreaction, and they just came back later and undid it. Because it does seem. Because what if the building caught fire? What are you going to do then? I mean, that's a crazy thing to do. But then I saw another video last week where they were talking about there'd been another outbreak somewhere, and they'd put these metal bars across an entire street and just block the street off with bars. So, I don't know.
Yeah, no nonsense.
But I want to add, I'm not saying my conspiracy is true, but it's just a bit of, creative speculation that I sort of stumbled across a series of these things,
But this is why conspiracy theories can be so interesting, though, because there are things that are physically possible that could have happened. There are cover-ups that physically could have happened, etc. But then you get to the other spectrum with people saying 5G causes toxins to, it's the same spectrum. But
Right.
I think where is the cut-off point for some of these people?
I think a more likely explanation may be, if it isn't this wet market, I think a likely explanation could be that one of these organizations, because I didn't know there was a private company there producing vaccinations. There may be others. So, China tends to center these things, doesn't it? Where you have a lot of companies doing similar things in one place, So, who knows what went on there? But I don't think it's impossible that one of these places, not that they manufactured something, but that they had got stuff in there for testing, that was acquired naturally, and that they fucked up somehow and released it somehow. I don't think that's beyond the realms of possibility, right?
I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility at all, and it's fascinating. One day all this will sort of come out, but I don't think it was. Some people are suggesting it was made in a lab and it's a weapon, and I don't believe that. From what I've read, that I don't think we've got the technology for that.
No, I think there's good evidence to say that isn't the case, because we have the DNA structure, and what people who are in the know have told me is that there are parts of that DNA. There's like junk DNA there, I think, that you wouldn't normally bother to put in something that you were manufacturing. You were creating artificially. You would only bother with the stuff that you needed, and the stuff in this DNA structure is, as you would expect to see in something that would form naturally. Yeah, I think I've got my understanding of that is very much a layman's, I must say to my audience, but it was something along those lines, I think.
I think it's got a lot of junk DNA. Well, it's the DNA does lead it coming from the bat, doesn't it? You know, it leads it coming from there. But no, it's fascinating stuff.
Yeah, we will. I guess we'll find out more as time goes on, and I dare say there will be some, you know, the odd revelation in what we discover. You know,
Ranty Flat Earth did it, but
oh yeah. Well, you know, I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, but to be fair to Ranty, you know, he was ahead of the game. You know,
he wasn't.
Well,
he really wasn't.
He
No,
was that. He was though. I think
No,
he
he
was
wasn't.
because most people weren't taking it seriously at that time. You know, they just weren't.
He was just parroting the same sort of news that was coming out of those circles. So you'd see it going around a few days, certain videos, and then Ranty would have a post about it, like a few days later. I don't know. Maybe it's just because you spent too much time watching Flat Earth. But
I know I had spent an inordinate amount of time doing it this week. I mean, I really have. There were some long videos I went through to get to tonight's show. So, you know.
Ranty's head's too big, yeah. We've really got to make sure we don't give him any extra credit that he doesn't deserve, you know? So it's very important to me.
I want to reiterate, I'm definitely not saying I believe my conspiracy theory. I was just playing with the idea, you know? Now I really sound like a conspiracy theorist.
No. See, that's the sort of conspiracy theory that makes sense. It makes sense. There's a motive there. It's possible it could have happened, and there are lots of people who would probably be willing to do it. So,
yeah, it's not too far off the beaten track, is it? Anyway.
Wait. Are you guys though? I just question though. Are you guys like happy to get a vaccination from Bill Gates though? Be honest.
Well, I mean,
Windows.
I don't really know where this idea is that Bill Gates himself is involved in the production of these vaccines.
Right.
You know, I don't think that's really gonna be.
It's just his money. It's just his money going into producing it.
If Steve Jobs was doing a vaccine, and he was about, I might take one, but not Bill Gates. No, terrible.
But I imagine if there's a vaccine here in the UK, I imagine it will come from some UK manufacturer. We've got
Dyson.
We've got plenty of them on the case, haven't we? So I know at least one went into human testing this week in the UK. So
this lady that we just watched, Crystal, whatever.
Hearing Crystal Clear, I think her name
Hearing Crystal Clear. What exactly does she think that she did? What did her video do? Like it stopped us. She thinks her video stopped the United States from backing the WHO?
We were all going to have a vaccination, I think, is what she thinks. And she's prevented that.
That's still going to happen. There's still going to be a vaccine for this.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know how she'll explain that away. But I guess she's saying that she's stopped it being compulsory, I think. I'm not really sure what she thinks. I mean, she's in a fantasy world, isn't she? So who knows?
Yeah.
She started the whole movement.
Yeah.
All her.
Yeah.
All glory be to Crystal.
No.
The virus is not real. We all know because we did our research. And the virus dies at 80 degrees Fahrenheit, exactly as she said.
Well, maybe you need to be listening a little bit more to Hearing Crystal Clear, because she said all praise and glory goes to God, not to her.
In her mind, she is God.
Yeah. That's what she said and what she means.
She also said, "We are your masters."
Yeah, that was great, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard that loud and clear. Yeah.
Did you catch that part about the 80 degrees Fahrenheit and the virus dies at that temperature? She did say that.
Yeah, she did. She did say that, yeah. And she said all that stuff about AIDS, didn't she? She went on and on and on about AIDS.
Her claims hold up so well against research.
Okay. Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Okay, we're in the middle, so indulge me for a moment while I just mention this. A great big thank you to everyone who has donated to my PayPal so far. If you can support the show, please follow the links in the description. And please, please, please subscribe to the channel. Okay, back to the show. See, I'm getting shorter and shorter on that every week. This week, the Irish government faced a High Court challenge to its lockdown measures, led by a sort of female Irish Alex Jones. Let's take a look. Can't get to it. There it is.
And we will continue to come here for as long as is necessary to demand that justice is done. Our country must be reopened. Our people must be allowed to go back to work, to earn their living, to go back to normal life. Because the more we learn about what is going on in relation to this so-called virus, we realise that the people of Ireland are being duped, they're being lied to.
No more! No more!
I'm not going to say anything more, but when we come out, we certainly will have something to say. But we will go to wherever it takes to defend this Constitution, to defend our rights, and to reclaim our country, because that's what we're doing.
Exactly.
We've spoken. About the revolution that is coming, we are now in it.
Yes! Woo! Revolution!
Because the state is corrupt to the core.
Yes, yes, totally.
So we're going to start pushing the state aside. It will become increasingly irrelevant as more and more Irish people waken up.
The can of worms has opened. The can of worms has opened. Let's take their country back, people!
Thank you very much. We've had rather a frustrating morning with the state and the judge in really what is clearly a concerted attempt to procrastinate, to filibuster, to prevent this case moving ahead at the speed at which it needs to move. Yet the will of the people and the desire of the people for their freedom and for their sanity, and indeed for the restoration of the things that give them life, which are fresh air, sunshine, and each other's love.
Feeling any sense of despair or disillusionment with
this
the
has
outcome.
only made us want more.
Just hold on. The overriding emotion in that room there for the last hour was one of fear.
What a joke.
It was not coming from John and myself. It was coming from the state side, and it was coming from the bench.
Because they know they're caught.
Because they knew that we were onto them.
Yes.
They were playing games with us, back and forth, pretending that we were idiots. Trying to pull the wool over our eyes. But they know that we have the truth.
You can take your poisonous vaccines and stick them in your arms! Give it to your own wife, Bill Gates, and give it to your own children, because Ireland doesn't want your poison! Our body! Our body! Our body! Our body! Our body! I can't hear you! Our body!
Yeah. You tell him, silly Bill Gates.
She totally
Wow.
fucked that up at the end there when she went, "I can't hear you," didn't she? She really messed up the rhythm there.
My word, there's a lot in there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Lots to talk about in there.
I wonder how they organized that, because it seemed like the perception is there's a lot of people there, but I feel like they're actually a smaller group than it seems, because like those people didn't just show up there out of the blue. They knew this was going on, and they decided to come and support. So,
Right. She's quite a popular journalist, I think, or has been at least in the past.
okay, I'd be interested to hear her story. You know, how she came to where she is, but she's certainly a more charismatic speaker than a lot of the other conspiracy theorists I've seen try to take some sort of leadership role and go like, what were they had a hearing?
Yeah, they actually basically took the government to court for saying their lockdown was illegal. But all they did was adjourn it, basically, which is what they're just going to keep doing until there's no lockdown for them to have to defend, I guess.
Okay. Well, do we know what their grounds for saying it was illegal is?
I didn't go into it any further than that, but
okay.
I thought she's an interesting character because on the one hand, she's actually won an award or two as a journalist. And she did uncover some sort of, child sex abuse thing. But then she believes a whole host of other stupid shit, and just mental, crazy conspiracies, including the whole 5G thing. And, she thinks, what was it? Wind turbines are sinister. And, just mad stuff like that. So... It's odd, isn't it? Yeah, how you get people who, the people who they have the same thoughts as the craziest people that we know on YouTube, and yet they're award-winning journalists with big followings.
Yeah, she had a very wide range of. But when I forget what the the first bit of text said about the video started, but as I was looking into it. I thought, oh, that sounds interesting. And then the more it said about her, the more sort of like crazy her beliefs got. And then, I think, oh, well, that's probably why I forgot the first thing she said, because you kind of like mentally, you just write them off then. They don't do themselves much of a service when you get into that kind of outlandish mode. Anything sensible said is long forgotten.
Right. She's also run as a politician, but not successfully. She was, in fact, I think she was dropped because in their system you have to be nominated to run for president. You have to be nominated by so many sort of area councils, and she got those nominations, and then they were withdrawn after she tweeted something that people didn't like. I can't remember what it was, but maybe something. She's sort of done a lot of anti-immigration stuff, some anti-LGBT stuff, this sort of thing. So she kind of operates on the cusp of, what a lot of mainstream media finds acceptable these days,
Mm-hmm.
She's been banned from YouTube on 2 accounts. She's been, I think she's still on Twitter, but I think she may have been suspended on there or something like that in the past. So, and the other guy, he contributes to I think it's a monthly US magazine. I can't remember the name of it, but he's an accomplished guy. He's not some. Well, I don't know what he is, but he's written. He's written some books, and he wrote an entry to the Eurovision Song Contest, which will mean nothing to our American cousins, but
that is amazing.
Yeah,
I want that on my CV. I want to start with the Eurovision Song Contest. If I live to be 1,000,000 years old, that would be my aim.
I've got a great idea though, Catz, for a song. Right?
Go on.
My Lovely Horse.
Is that a song? Or just a title?
You don't know My Lovely Horse?
I don't know My Lovely Horse.
Oh, it's
no.
an award-winning entry for the Eurovision Song Contest.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I suggest you Google My Lovely Horse later on and see where it leads you.
I think I need to do that. Might take me down a Eurovision rabbit hole.
It's actually very relevant. It was let's say it was an Irish entry. I'll say no more. Google it later.
Right.
Everyone else, do not Google it now. You've got to stay here and watch the show.
How many points did it get?
Oh, it won.
It won.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the
You just got it. Look. Forget I ever mentioned My Lovely Horse. Okay.
Will do.
It would have been funny if Catz knew it, but it'll be.
I ruined that.
But no. It'll be funny for you later. So it's kind of it's a better stored funny for later.
Just going back to that video, what was that woman's problem with 5G? Was it she wasn't like a virus? She wasn't trying to link it with a virus, was she?
I think she is in that last tweet. I think she does. Yeah.
See, this is another. I'm not going all conspiratorial on anyone or anything. I think 5G is going to be perfectly safe, but electromagnetic radiation is ionizing, and I can understand how some people, even very, very, very weakly, I can understand how some people could like connect those two things together. But I can't understand how somebody can connect an electromagnetic wave with, with a virus and inserting RNA into your DNA. I just don't understand how anyone could think like that.
I think it's a classic correlation and causation issue. It's where you've got these things that just happen to be going on at the same time, and so people are taking the correlation and making it a causation. I think
my autism is blowing up inside. Can I? Electromagnetic radiation in this frequency, not ionizing. You got to get into the UV and higher frequencies before you're dealing with ionizing radiation. Just to clear that up. Sorry.
Oh, brilliant! No, that's I'm not a physics expert. When we teach it to the kids at school, obviously you get down to sort of like radio waves, and we say how safe they are, but they can still give you cataracts if you get a big enough dose, and we just talk about a decrease in the ionization strength. So, is there a cutoff point where they just become totally unionizing?
Somewhere in the UV part of the spectrum.
Right. Well, you taught me something there. I did not know that. Thank you.
Well, sure.
Well, what is it? It has to dislodge. Is it that it has to be able to sort of dislodge an electron? Is that? Have I got that right?
Yeah.
And then that goes on to do more damage, right?
Once something's lost an electron, it becomes much more reactive. So if that's in your DNA, then your DNA is looking to react with things that it wouldn't normally. It's just going to mess everything up.
Understand.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
Anyway, actually, let's save this because it's a great opportunity coming up to hammer this to death, I feel. So, until that point, let's stay on protest for a moment because the Irish weren't the only ones objecting to the lockdown. Most of us find it frustrating, but spare a thought for our poor mad flat friends. They have all the same frustrations that we do, but they think it's all a hoax. Here they are in typically huge numbers at a protest that took place yesterday in Glastonbury.
So we're here at Glastonbury. We have Piers Corbyn out with us. Got a bit of a crowd gathered in defiance. And we've all been hugging each other and shaking each other's hands in defiance. We're all building up our immune systems. We're all out in the sun, getting some vitamin D, essential vitamin D.
are safe under the government guidelines.
Oh, we are safe.
Yeah.
So we're asking people to remit.
Yeah, but they're still installing weapon systems masquerading as lighting systems, and they're installing 5G, which is killing people. That's a fact.
So is that what the protest is about?
No, they're protesting. They're not protesting. They're gathering.
Yeah. And you need. No. She's been lied to. She's been lied to. Oh well, I will, because if you're worried, I will. But like she's been lied to. We're out here building up our immune systems. This is needed. It's essential of life. We need that there, the sun, vitamin D.
And that's why you're allowed in your car and you're allowed to exercise.
We've got it on video saying that your lot said that you can't.
In Paris, because they've been on lockdown for so long, they're now rioting. They're firebombing the centre of Paris. That's what will come to the streets of Britain. That people like you don't back off and say we're no longer going to police this. You're policing a hoax.
Yeah.
You're policing a hoax, sir.
So is this about 5G? Is this about COVID? Or is this
No, this is about. I'm not willing to abide by laws that are oppressive. We don't live in a communist fascist state. This is supposed to be a free country, free speech, and this is not a protest. This is simply, a social meeting.
Yeah.
But it's clear you're trying to. You're telling me you're trying to raise a point. You're telling me that I need to go against.
What I'm doing, I'm exercising my rights as a human being. Okay, and I will not comply to a government-sponsored hoax.
Okay.
And in fact, if you want to download the actual figures for ordinary influenza annually, COVID-19 pales into insignificance.
You've been conned.
You've got it. You can go home, go back to your office, you can go on Google and download this yourself, and you have the information. Okay, now that's fact. I'm not making this up.
19th of March.
So it's a hoax.
Now look, we all know the lockdown has failed us. It's caused misery. We know there is no pandemic. There's less people dying from all causes now than at any time this time of year in the last 5 years.
Exactly. Yes.
There's no pandemic. And we also know that countries who've had no lockdowns have had even less people dying from supposed coronavirus, whatever that may be. Less people. So if you want to save lives and stop doing all these things, then you should end the lockdown. And what we have now is we have more deaths through suicide, loneliness, or just being kept out of hospital, which are being kept empty for the flood of people that's never come for COVID-19. And for all those who do get CV flu, they all recover, all of them, in the normal way, unless they've got some other serious situation. And we know, for those who do have it, there is, or whatever it may be, there is a cure. The cure is chloroquine or quinine with zinc, and 100% success rate has been reported with that.
Schweppes Indian tonic
So we do
water.
not need a vaccine. So let's ask, what is the lockdown for? It's not for us. It is not for us. It is for another agenda.
Money.
Yes. Follow the money. Follow the money. And as Dr. Boutar said, social distancing is nonsense. And the only use for social distancing is to keep you more than 6 feet apart, so you can be identified personally by a GPS or a 5G satellite or a 5G tower, so you can be singly identified. If you're closer than 6 feet, they don't know who's who. But it's all mixed together. 5G is the crucial thing for the cabal, the World Economic Forum, and all those people that want to govern us with world fascism, is crucial for their way forward. Control, exactly.
power.
So we say end 5G now.
No, it's a good turnout today, and it's the first of many to come. And hopefully we'll get 1,000 people.
Is happening something?
How was Glastonbury? It's a great turnout, shoulder to shoulder in defiance, and the start of many comings together.
Well, Piers Corbyn, so that's Jeremy Corbyn's brother, is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
He's a right nutter, isn't he?
Wow. Not surprising.
My word.
Yeah, I reckon we got off lightly with Corbyn.
I'm not going to comment on like the views on the lockdown or anything like that because I've got no idea how to control something like this. But like just the basic lack of biology is starting to cheese me off a little bit. Like when Jason Didsbury said we're out here building up our immune system, is it like does he not know how you become immune to coronavirus? Does he think going out there he can become immune to the coronavirus? Like I don't understand how he's how even that.
He also said it was also him that made the comment about Schweppes tonic water. Because he thinks it's got enough quinine in it to somehow help him. That was who was it? That chiropractor guy, wasn't it? That said that?
Yeah.
Dr. Napute or something, he called himself. But he's another idiot that's gone viral, isn't he?
Man, I said it had 100% success rate. 100%.
Right. I mean, you've got, this guy's a weather forecaster. He is. I mean, he's not a weatherman on the TV, but he does weather forecasting and sells the forecast. Although he's got some kooky way of doing it as well. He thinks. I think he thinks major weather events are caused by sun activity, as are earthquakes, I think.
Okay. So I mean, the sun does more or less the same thing every day.
Right. He's come up with a few sort of, he's made a few kooky predictions, that there's going to be very severe weather. And, tabloid newspapers love this because English people love to talk about the weather and speculate about the weather. So you often see these stories out there, this winter is going to be the worst winter ever. And then you go to the story and it says, the Met Office say the chances of it being the worst winter ever this year are 1 in 3 million or about 10%. Or, it'll actually be the opposite of what the headline says. But I think that's his site has become popular. I mean, it was listed on the stock exchange, his company was, although he delisted it in the end because he wasn't making a lot of money, and it cost quite a bit of money to stay listed, I think.
But he was publicly traded for a little while.
Right. And he's still trading off it now, yeah. So, he has got some scientific knowledge. He must have. And yet, he came out with that load of crap.
So confidently as well. It was the delivery that got me.
Right.
It's like so confident.
And you know, especially if you've been watching this show, where he got half of that shit. Some retard on Facebook saying it,
Yeah, it's like, I get the whole, we don't trust the government, and this is about liberty. I get that. But then like Catz said, they're so confident that they're more confident about this than I've been about almost anything in my life.
Right. Yeah. It's so true. It's so true.
Sorry, mate, go on.
How were you guys able to listen to what Corbyn was saying? Am I the only one that was so triggered by the length of his thigh?
Yeah. Yeah, it should never go below your waistband, should it? Although that is unachievable for me now, I've noticed, because I'm so bent forward. My neck is almost below my waistline. So, to start with. Anyway.
I just want to say as well, I think, again, I totally appreciate the sentiment of standing up to the police and our freedoms and not living in a communist fascist state, but it's a bit funny him saying that while there's just like one policeman there unarmed,
right,
just talking to them.
Yeah, just having a chat. Well,
Yeah.
well, how long do you think you're planning on staying? He's going to.
I think well, there might be a time for these protests, but it doesn't seem like it's just yet. And
no.
and we should be safe. That's the point I wanted to make. Like, we could be skeptical, but let's also be safe for the sake of things. You know what I mean? Like, not crowd around and take unnecessary risks.
Right. I mean, I can only say what I've been saying for a while on this. Really, it's just, it's okay. I'll protest in a few months. We're nowhere near protesting time yet. You know what I mean? That's.
I did, when the police start checking my shopping, that was the one that really got me. Of all the stuff the police said. They're going to check my shopping and piss off. I'll be rioting if they try and do that.
That was annoying, and I think the timing of that as well, just as we'd sort of done a week of the lockdown, and people were sort of, really starting, the novelty had worn off, and the cold, hard annoyance of it all was setting in, and then he went and said that, and that was, that really... It bothered me a lot to hear him say that. We're talking about the chief constable of Northamptonshire, who made this comment about I played it last week, we won't yet be checking shopping bags or setting up roadblocks, but we may have to, or something like that, he said.
Yeah.
With the aim of what? Why would they need to check shopping bags?
I know, to check that what you're buying is essential.
Right. You're not buying anything fun.
he was ticked off for it by the Home Secretary, and he later said that his words were clumsy. But even so, he still said those words. And what worries me is he's the well-educated person at the top of that police force. What are the rank and file numpty officers thinking if that's his attitude? That's I think what bothered me about it a lot.
Maybe he's thinking because he is that high up, he can't be seen to be liberal on it in any way whatsoever. He has to be right down the line because of his position. Maybe that's not his personal belief, but give him benefit of doubt. But it sounds crazy, that.
Yeah, I think he was doing what police officers often do. It was a sort of a great big version of, when they hear someone swear and they go, Section 5, public order, you could be arrested for swearing. When they know that that's not true, but they still use it to threaten people with. And I think that's what he was doing. He was just making shit up and using it to threaten people with, so that we thought, we better stay locked down in case he makes it worse for us. And he forgot that he doesn't have the power to do that. You
don't have to police this carefully because there is no capacity. If they are going to go more hardcore at some point, they just don't have the capacity to do it with everybody, do they? They're going to have to exercise judgment at every single step, and that's going to be on Facebook. It's going to be on YouTube.
Right.
And it must be a logistical nightmare.
Right. I mean,
there shouldn't ever be a point where they're checking our shopping bags, though. No, ever. That is not acceptable in this country, ever. I don't care what's going on.
No.
Not mine.
I agree.
Not with some of the TV stuff I buy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not what I'm getting out.
All right, shall we have another clip?
Let's do it.
I think we should. Okay, as you know, sometimes we like to establish the source for some of the lines from the memes that we hear parroted every day. The source of a number of claims about 5G is featured in our next series of clips taken from 4 of his videos. Meet Ian the Tower Climber.
It's the question of the day. Ian, what do you think about 5G? For those of you that don't know, I'm a tower climber. I climb cell phone towers and install the cellular equipment that allows you to keep scrolling. And I'm currently in 5G training. And I was already concerned about this technology before getting in there and actually learning some of the science about it. The way 5G is going to work is it is going to broadcast in gigahertz, not megahertz. We're talking about 30 plus gigahertz they're estimating, which means 15,000 times stronger than what we're pushing out right now. Which means that this millimeter wave is going to be able to directly affect the cellular membranes, the bonds that hold your cells together. It's going to be in your face. It's going to be behind the back seat where your car seats are. So, I mean, not to mention what it's going to do to your brain and your eyes and your testicles or ovaries just from the superheating that radio frequency will do at a close range. The rub of it is, America, that you're not going to know what I did to you for another 15, 20 years. And by then it's going to be too fucking late. It already is. They've got trillions tied up in this 5G push. People are screaming for faster phones. Everybody wants to be able to scroll at the speed of light. There's no stopping it. And what am I going to do, right? This is my job. You know, I got kids to take care of. I got my own chemo treatments 30 years from now that I'm going to have to deal with. So yeah, I'm going to install it. But America, I'll tell you what, I feel like I'm fixing to pull your fillings out for the gold before I put you in a gas chamber. What we're fixing to do to toddlers and infants that are born, that are still developing, man. So the question of the day is, Ian, what do you think about 5G? I'm frightened and saddened because I'm going to install this. I'm going to install it everywhere. And you are all going to feel the effects of what I've done to you. Alright, so there have been enough calls for a follow-up video that here it is, right? 5G from the install. We are in Oklahoma installing Nokia's 5G rollout. I won't tell you which carrier it's for. You want to incur their wrath. But here we are in the Midwest installing a Chinese weapons platform made in China, assembled in Mexico, installed in the American Midwest. Welcome to 5G, brave new world. 5G, fifth generation of telecommunications. How is it different? Now the issue, and a lot of people are going to say, yeah, but the amperage is low. You know, it's not very forceful. Well, let me tell you, I wired this up. It's neg 48 with 50 and 100 amp breakers. You do the math on it. If they chose to, they could amp this up and use it as a weapon. I'm not saying they're going to, but I don't really feel comfortable having a weapons platform installed on the corner either. I don't care who has the reins of power there. I didn't vote for that. I'm not with it. So you say what you want. This has the capability to do harm, irreparable harm, and it's at their control. And they could individually target whomsoever they wanted to by just juicing it up, just kicking it up a notch from what they say is safe to much unsafer levels. My name's Ian, and I am a tower climber. You know, I earned that title with my blood, sweat, and tears. I earned that title. Though not too long ago, I quit the industry. After finding out that I was installing a Chinese-made weapons and surveillance platform. I took a $60,000 a year pay cut and entered another field. But there's some things going on in the world now that I can't I can't sit on the information and not tell you, even though I may struggle with how to tell you. It's not just theoretical anymore. It's not just being installed in preparation of. It is online, and I'm being proven right, and I hate it. Because there are some communities out there that are going to feel the effects of what I installed there. Radio frequency has been proven by the National Institute of Health's toxicology program to be carcinogenic. And that's just at 2G, 3G. They found conclusively that it caused tumors and cancer. All right? They tested it on rats, but they proved it. $30 million 2-year study, they proved it. Cell phone radiation is carcinogenic. But there's some things going on in the world now that I can't not comment on. Because in November of 2019, the Wuhan district in China brought online the world's first smart city grid. You understand? They flipped the switch, turned on their 5G network at 60 gigahertz, and within 2 months they've got an outbreak. Respiratory illnesses. Now here's the real interesting thing about 60 gigahertz. 60 gigahertz is absorbed by oxygen. It's an interesting part of the radio frequency spectrum. 2.4 gigahertz, the same thing as your microwave and your cordless phone and your home router. Those all operate right around 2.4 gigahertz, and it interacts with hydrogen molecules, which is why water boils, because it interacts with the electrons, causes them to spin and excite. 60 gigahertz radio frequency, and it's looking like somewhere around 40 gigahertz does as well, interacts with oxygen molecules. It's absorbed by oxygen molecules, causes the electrons to spin, and it makes it impossible for the body's hemoglobin to break it down and bond it to iron, essentially rendering the air in the path of that laser beam unbreathable. I mean, there are communities here on our soil, here in America, where I installed it. And for that, I am truly sorry. I mean, no longer. I took a $60,000 a year pay cut because I believed that firmly in it. I quit. God bless you. God bless your families.
Oh, I bet Curve's jumping up and down in his seat right now, isn't he?
He's good though, isn't he? That guy. Don't you think he's compelling? He'd make a great actor.
He's gonna make up for his $60,000 a year pay cut and all the support he's gonna get online.
Right.
I think Sean Hawkins made a good point when he said he's quit his job. Sean said no, he probably just got sacked because his employees had seen the videos he was making.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. Yeah.
I mean, it was funny because when I watched the first one, the first one that we saw here, and it was so dramatic, I thought this guy's obviously bullshitting. And then the next one, he's up this fucking tower. You know what I mean? I thought, oh my God, he's not bullshitting. He actually does this job.
Right.
So that was kind of a bit of a threw me a little bit, that one. I mean, I don't really know the technical stuff that he's talking about. But Moyak does, who's a favorite regular in our server, and he's in the chat now, and he'll have spotted a load of things, no doubt, that he said that was bollocks, I guess. I've sent you the link, Moyak, by the way, if you want to pop in.
Well, his the way he phrased things is laced with misconceptions, and maybe he misspoke. I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt, but saying things like your body breaks down oxygen. Oxygen is an element; it doesn't get broken down. It's just
doesn't make any sense. Does it?
Yeah, little things like that. Just even if you don't know anything about the technology, little things like that just really undermine your confidence in what he's saying.
Right, and there were a few other things. I know in the comments where these videos were posted, a few things were pointed out, but definitely not my field, so I don't know. I DM'd it to you in Discord, Moyok. Sorry.
Well, he started out saying, he said before, I guess he had a class at his job about 5G, but he's like, yeah, before I went to this class, I already knew there was something wrong with it. But then I learned about it, and I'm like, okay, well, if you already knew there was something wrong with it and you didn't know anything about it, then, obviously when your whole, class, you're just going to be there like with the preconception that the whole thing's a hox. Was that Mr. Moyak?
Hi, Moyak. Welcome.
Hello.
You install 5G, right? Oh, it's a bit...
I don't physically install it. I design it.
Right. Okay. So what
even worse.
What did you make of this guy?
Well, he seems to be a bit on the screwy side. I mean, if you go through the training and stuff, it tells you about all the dangers of it and stuff. And I would guess, you could be alarmist with some of that. If you're actually working on the towers, you got to make sure you do the lockout, tag out, so you don't get burned, because touching the antennas and being up there on towers that have 50,000 watts transmitting from them is dangerous. Right. And you have to be cautious. On the ground, you don't have these problems.
Right.
So what are the actual the legit dangers? What are they?
Legit dangers are mostly thermal. If you overheat your skin, if you overheat your internal tissues, with enough power, you can cause damage.
Well, what's up with that 50? You said 50,000 watts. Is that just
he said
all the signals?
He's mistaking frequency for power.
Right. Yeah.
He said something along the lines of it comes up to some of these are at 15,000 megahertz or 15 gigahertz.
Right. He said it was going from gigahertz to megahertz, so that means that it's going to be so much more power.
Yeah, right. And power is these sites, at least the ones I'm designing, are 20 watts. And the current 4G sites that we're putting up are before gain of antenna have 300 watt transmitters. So
okay. I thought it's like
much lower power.
You said something like about some 50,000 watts at that. You said he could possibly get burned from it. I never heard that much energy.
Oh, yeah. No, like the AM, FM stations and stuff like that are on these towers also. They can put out 50,000 watts, no problem.
Oh, wow.
So you're climbing on a tower that's being used by multiple people.
Is the burning a result of all of the radio frequencies that you're just close to at the source point, or is it the antenna themselves that are hot?
In some cases, the towers are hot. Like AM towers, if I'm not mistaken, those are hot.
Okay,
you could just touching it, you could actually get a physical burn.
So it's not the RF frequencies; it's the transmitters themselves that are hot.
At the lower frequencies. The higher frequencies in the gigahertz, you can actually just start, like your microwave, you can start heating internal tissues.
Okay.
So is that done in the same way microwaves do it? Is there do they resonate the water or something like? What is it that they're resonating to cause that heat?
The water in your body.
So the same way that microwaves do it, is it pretty much the same?
Yeah, we've got your microwave is about 2 gigahertz, and the mid band for cellular is 2 gigahertz. But it's a function of power.
Right.
Power to receive at the location you are.
Your microwave oven has about 1,000 watts, whereas these will usually transmit at 1 watt or something like that. But you're saying
in the case,
50,000.
Yeah, in the case of a cell site, you can have up to 300 watts coming out of these things, and then through focusing of the antennas, you can get 15 dB of gain. So, like if you got right in front of the antenna, you could receive quite a bit of energy. But it's a logarithmic roll off in power. So by the time you get to the ground, you're already safe.
Yeah.
Right.
See, I was always under the impression, and obviously wrong, speaking to you, I was obviously under the wrong impression that when microwaves heated water in food, it was a very specific frequency of microwave used. But if these like radio frequencies, is it quite a wide band of frequencies that can do that then?
Yeah, I mean, when you get up into the 60 gigahertz range and stuff, now you're starting to actually just heat the surface of the skin. Whereas down at like 2 gigahertz, you heat like 3-4 inches into the skin. I'm not sure about the actual numbers on that, but essentially, when you think about how you cook something in a microwave oven, it has a certain depth of penetration, and it doesn't go any deeper than that. You have to wait for it to radiate out from the hot spot that it's created. So it doesn't go all the way through you, heating up all your tissues equally. So at each frequency, you get a different depth of penetration.
But it's still the water that it resonates, regardless of the depth.
Yeah, as I understand it.
That's quality, yeah? Thank you.
It's interesting, isn't it? I should point out here that Moyak is a regular in my server. In the last 3 weeks, we brought you a medical doctor who works in a hospital and a lawyer to deal with some of the things that we presented. These are the people, and people like them, who hang around in my server. So give it a try if you haven't done already. How about that? I'm using you as advertising, Moyak. How about that? Should we have another clip?
I won't yell at you.
Shall we have another clip? You've got to stay muted though, Moyak, because you've got quite a lot of background noise, mate.
No problem.
Yeah, feel free to stay and comment on the next clip. Okay, so no Sunday roast would be complete without a large and varied selection of vegetables. Our penultimate clip offers just that as we open a veritable selection box of internet loons. Here are 5 for the price of 1. Enjoy.
Welcome back. I'm Alfred Lammerwalt Weber, and we have the great privilege coming to us from the United Kingdom, Judge 7 of the Natural and Common Law Tribunal on Public Health and Justice, Nurse Kate Chemirani. And,
thank you. Pleased to meet you.
Yes, and Mark Steele.
It's Mark Steele, Judge Weber.
5G activist and
weapons
educator,
expert.
5G. And this is a special panel on April 12th, Easter Sunday, educating people on the unlawfulness of the lockdown that's been declared in the UK and elsewhere. So I'm going to turn it over to Judge 7 to be the Masters of Ceremonies. Judge 7.
Thank you, Alfred, and thank you to our guests today. We have Nurse Kate Chemirani.
So I'm Kay Alison Chemirani, Kate. My alter ego is Natural Nurse in a Toxic World. I've been a nurse for 35 years. I'm an independent nurse prescriber, and I have a diploma in personal nutrition. My interest today is I also used to present on local radio as a health and wellness guest. And so I broke this when it first came out, and I talked about Wuhan being the test city for 5G, which it was, and it's well documented.
So I want to bring Mark in now.
Well, I'm a weapons systems expert, so it tells you exactly what 5G is. 5G is a weapons deployment. The bioweapon, it is a bioweapon. Microwave radiation causes a significant number of biological detrimental effects. Pneumonia-type symptoms, corona-type symptoms, absolutely. A corona is actually an electrical discharge. I don't do coincidences, but what I'm pretty sure about is that this whole corona hoax is nothing more than a hoax. As we know that 5G was switched on in Wuhan, it's pretty obvious if anybody watches any of the images where people are just basically collapsing in the street. That's not a flu. That's not any illness that I've ever heard of. What I have seen is direct energy weapons used in a very similar way. The vaccine we now know that these people were given, mandated and given in China, had nanoparticulates, micro and nanoparticulates, aluminium and tungsten in particular. those particulates traveling across the blood-brain barrier, I can activate them with a 5G frequency. So it means that I need to have less power to cause the lethal effects where, I mean, if anybody understands microwave radiation, you put aluminium in a microwave, well, I wouldn't suggest you do that, but you see where I'm going. So if you've got those nanoparticles in your head and I fire a microwave radiation frequency at you, well, I'm going to kill you pretty quickly. So this is a genocidal plan.
So basically, we're holding this emergency panel with the view of unturning and setting aside the corrupt orders that are locking the world down. So from that perspective, Dave, if you introduce yourself to everyone.
Right, I'm Dave. I'm known as allegedly Dave. I started looking, or truth seeking, about 2005, when I was actually at 9/11. So they're saying, look, we want to have a cashless society. We want to be able to come into your house and take people away. And the point is, this is the moment we're supposed to object. But again, the masses are at home watching TV and playing on their PlayStations.
And so this whole social distancing is really so that they can actually profile each person, which they can't do if people are next to each other. Do you know anything about that, Dave?
That is an intriguing theory, and I happen to believe it. And as it happens, I've got a couple of solutions for that that I don't really want to say too much about. But it's something that you can wear, and it will actually kind of capitalize on that limitation.
Obviously, 5G weapons, the directed energy signal. So if I've got you falling off apart, it means I can pick you out as an individual. Whereas if you're too close together, I find that's pretty difficult. I'd probably kill both of you instead of just killing the one. So if you're further apart, means I can take out an individual a lot more easily than what I can when you get a group of people together. One person walking along collapsing in the street's not going to be suspect. If I fire a signal and kills a group of 6 or 7 people, all drop down dead, that's going to look really suspect.
As truth seekers, we've known this was coming for a long time. Now, we didn't know if it was going to be an alien invasion or any number of scenarios we've been looking at, but this is it. This is the thing we've been sort of screaming from the rooftops about. So yes, I personally believe that Wuhan was a setup that was created by frequency weapons, 5G, as it became the first smart grid city to go online.
Just to introduce the findings of law that Judge Seven and myself, the judges of the Natural and Common Law Tribunal for Public Health and Justice, have found in our findings of law and fact of March 26, 2020, this tribunal finds that any and all mandatory quarantine, lockdown orders, mandatory vaccine orders, and or martial law orders made by any national, provincial, state, municipal, or disease control, governmental or public entities claiming public deployments of 5G and or 60 gigahertz and above technology, directed energy weapons or neuroweapons, mandatory vaccinations, and intentionally finds any and all public deployments of chemtrails, 5G, 60 gigahertz technology, and or satellite-based, air-based, or land-based directed energy weapons or scalar weapons can request such pro bono attorneys and law firms can request that anyone who wants to jump in and comment or, so there we go.
Yeah, if anyone's still awake after that, Jesus, man.
That last bit went on for 20 minutes. That guy was reading that thing out. Oh my God, it was awful. So, yeah, there's a right collection of lunatics there, wasn't there? I mean, there's our own, allegedly, Dave, of course, who we all know and love.
They always knew this was coming. They always knew.
Right. Nurse Kate Shimarani, who we've seen before. She was the anti-vaxxer. And then this Judge Seven, I thought, was an interesting character, which was the woman who was leading it. And her name is Charles Seven, is what she goes by. Although her name is actually Wendy Charles Seven, apparently. And yeah, she calls herself a judge of some bogus thing that they've dreamed up. But she's like a sort of a long-serving conspirator that's jumped on just about every conspiracy that's happened. All sorts of them. I found a whole load of stuff about her on the Hoaxstead site, and if you're on there, you're a nutter. So,
and the 5G weapons expert, what's his name again?
Mark Steele. Now he's an interesting character. Now he calls himself a weapons expert, which I don't know how he gets away with that, because he actually served 8 years for accidentally shooting someone and paralyzing them in like an argument in a bar. So he's arguing with someone, gets his gun out, and it goes off, and it shoots some 19-year-old girl who's behind him and paralyzes her.
Oh.
Oops.
I know.
Oopsie.
Well,
now,
he's learned his lesson. That means an expert now.
Now, I have to say, the stuff I read about him that got me to this, I can't say for absolutely certain it's him, but it's somebody called Mark Steele who lives on the same road as him if it's not him. So it could potentially be somebody else, but I don't know. It kind of sounds like it's probably going to be him, doesn't it? You know. And also, this is the other thing about him. He is a partner in a company called Review, and Review are a manufacturer of a smart helmet. So it's like a motorbike helmet with like a head-up display, and you can, it shows you your speed, and you can see behind you. It's got cameras that can see behind you, and
that's
wow.
Right, he's a partner in a company that manufactures this thing, and it looks really cool.
Yeah,
I know. You wouldn't believe it, would you? Some of these people, I don't know. I think it's mainly his brother's company. I think I got the impression.
Yeah, it's not that like you could be a crazy flatty and be part of a company like that. It's not groundbreaking technology. Do you know what I mean? It's a heads-up display and a Bluetooth.
Honestly, if you see it, it's on like the Israeli Defense Department website. And
really?
Yeah, and it's super
Yeah.
cool. It's like
He's a plan
Iron
right
Man-ish, you know what I mean? It looks really cool.
Makes me want to ride a motorbike.
Yeah.
But he thinks that LEDs are lasers.
Well, yeah. Yeah, there is that, yeah. Yeah.
All I could think about when I was watching him was, this won't mean much to you in America, but anyone from the UK who's more than 35 years old might remember Pob from Channel 4, and I used to spit on his misty window and shine it at the end of the episode.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I don't know why he'd got his camera like that. It's weird,
ridiculous.
wasn't it? But yeah, he actually he'd been spreading all this stuff about 5G in Gateshead, right? And he had been saying that they got 5G in the lamppost. And he's one of these people who's in one of these videos that's waving a meter around, saying, "Oh my God, look at the power coming from that." And I think Gateshead Council tried to get an injunction against him to stop him from doing this. And so he wound up in court, and they lost. The judge went with him and said that he'd done a lot of research, and that if there were dangers to this, then the public should it should be heard in public, and the public should know. and so they they lost, and I think he got some. Actually, I think they had to pay the costs. I don't know if he actually got any money for that. But also, because this got him in the news, it got him on the local news and in the paper and stuff, and that drew attention to him. And so he was offered testing from a really, really reputable testing organisation that's been in the business for years, that has all the experts, all the right kit. They contacted him, and he was just basically like a flat earther to them. He was abusive, called them names and stuff, didn't want to know. But the thing is, he'd been using some local people, some woman locally who said she'd been feeling ill or her child had or something like that. And so the press and this company got hold of her, and they went ahead and did these tests anyway. And everything he's saying about 5G in lampposts is just not true. There just isn't any. And the tests showed that. And they give a very comprehensive, results of their testing, and there just isn't the dangers there that he's claiming. And I got all of this off an anti-5G website. So,
wow.
Right. So I kind of think it's for real.
Well, they're just going to be using that to say that, look, this is the big they that's covering everything up. Look at the lengths they're going to stifle the truth.
Right. So, but I think he likes his conspiracy, and it's obviously he's drawn some attention, and he gets to play the weapons expert off the back of it. So, I guess that's. I guess he's happier with the conspiracy than he is with the actual, the truth of what radio waves are in the air where he lives.
Yeah. Hey, Moyak, I had a question for you. You coughed mockingly a couple times there during the clips. What were you thinking there?
Yeah, and just anytime I hear that guy, I'm like, oh God, I gotta talk.
So he was saying things like, they've often said that the 5G will be a beam that they can target.
Right. Yeah, he says that.
Yeah.
I hate to say this, but there is massive MIMO, which is multi-in, multi-out, multiple antennas, and they can actually real-time aim and steer the signal.
Yeah,
which is I really hate to mention that because it's not what he's saying, but to a conspirator, it does sound very scary.
Well, now that you say it, they're gonna pick it up. It'll come from here and spread like a virus.
It's neat technology. I mean, they have it on routers. Just look up MIMO on routers.
So
they just actively choose when to essentially send the waveforms that they can constructively assemble at a given location.
Oh, okay. All right. And is that the sort of thing here? This is where it's really going to pick up steam. Is it the sort of thing where they could aim it to approximately, say, a 6-foot target location? You don't want to
sort of, yes. Not to the scope that he's talking about.
All right.
Slick James Johnson in chat is loving this, by the way. So.
Oh yeah, I bet
very
so.
much.
He might even form some beliefs about it. You never know.
Go ahead and look at MIMO, and go ahead and look at MIMO, and just dig into that, fellers. You can get really scared.
Well, people are talking about this like it's the same technology as, say, the crowd control weapons, what they use at I think it's 90 megahertz, and probably a little more than 20 watt transmission. It's very direct and causes heating.
That is a scary thing, though.
I would think that would be 90 gigahertz, because megahertz, I don't think you could really get effective heating
I
from.
meant to say gigahertz if I did not say gigahertz. Yeah, 90 gig. It barely penetrates skin, really.
Yeah.
The higher the frequency, in a way, the safer you are. Lower frequencies penetrate deeper into the body. They're more concerning to me. Higher frequency, which is not stronger, as that fucking jackass said, that climbs a tower and should fall off of one of those towers. Stated. That's just stupid.
It's 15,000 times more powerful.
That is so dumb. The power is in the watts and not in the amps, like he was talking about. I don't care how many amps you got going, in the electric circuit to the tower. How many watts is it transmitting? Keep your.
Well, do you know what kind of power my house has coming into it? What kind of a weapon I could make out of my house?
I told you.
Got like a 200 amp service coming in.
You're insane. You're living in a ticking time bomb.
Shall we have another clip?
Sure.
No, it's a little one, and
it's what Slick wants.
It is. It is. So, and finally tonight, here's a clip that made me laugh this week, just in case anyone is still confused about how to socially distance.
Yeah, I really don't understand why everybody isn't following the same rules right now. They're very clear, so let's take a minute and let's go over them again. First, you must not leave the house for any reason, unless of course you have a reason, and then you may leave the house. All stores are closed except those that are open, and all stores must close unless, of course, they need to stay open. This virus is deadly, but don't be afraid of it. It can only kill people who are vulnerable and also those who are not vulnerable. We should stay locked down until the virus stops infecting people. And it will only stop infecting people if enough of us get infected that we build immunity. So it is very important that we get infected and also do not get infected. You should not go to the doctor's office or the hospital unless you have to go there. Unless, of course, you are too sick to go there. This virus has no effect on children except for those children in which it affects. The virus remains active on different
just a minute ago.
for 2 hours.
They were bringing me in as a subject matter.
Or 6
Oh,
hours.
sorry.
But in most cases, it's days and not hours, and it needs a damp environment or a cold environment that is warm and dry in the air, unless the air is plastic. Schools are closed, so you need to homeschool your children unless you can send them to school because you are not home. If you are at home, you can school your children using various portals and online classrooms unless you have poor internet, more than one child, only one computer, or you are working from home. Baking cakes can be considered math, science, or art. If you are home educating, you can include household chores within their education curriculum. And if you are home educating, you may start drinking at approximately 10 a.m. every day. If you are not home educating children, you may also start drinking at approximately 10 a.m. Masks are useless at protecting you against the virus, but you still need to wear one because it can save lives. And in some cases, it may even be mandatory, but also maybe not. You must not go to work, but you can get another job, at which point you may go to work. Stay home. I don't know how many more celebrities we need to have tell you how important it is to go outside and take care of your mental health. There is no shortage of groceries in the supermarket. There are simply many things missing. You don't need to go buy a bunch of toilet paper, but you should buy some in case you need it. If you are sick, you may go out once you are better, but those in your household, they cannot go out once you are better unless, of course, they need to go out. Animals are not affected by the virus, except for that cat that tested positive in Belgium in February, plus a couple tigers. The number of corona-related deaths will be announced daily, but we don't know how many people are infected because we were only testing those who are almost dead to determine if that's what they will die of. The people who die of corona who are not counted won't or will be counted, but maybe not. To help protect yourself during these times, you should be eating well and exercising, but exercising only eating what you have at home to avoid going to the stores unless you need toilet paper or a fence panel. It's important to get fresh air, but don't go to parks, but do go walk in other places. Just don't sit down unless you are old or pregnant. But if you do sit down, don't sit for too long. Unless you are old and you are pregnant, in which case you need to sit down. But if you do sit down, don't eat unless you've had a long walk, which you are allowed to do if you are old or pregnant, except for times in which you aren't. Don't visit old people, but you have a moral obligation to take care of old people and bring them food and medicine. And finally, no businesses will go down due to coronavirus except those businesses that go down due to COVID-19. I hope this cleared up any questions about what we should and should not be doing during this time. Please educate your friends and family with this information so we can remove any and all confusion surrounding this time. Thank you.
She's pretty funny.
She was, wasn't she? That's Adley, I think her name is, on this thing called Instagram that you might have heard of. I actually made an account there this week. So there you go.
Is it because you wanted to see more of her? I see.
No, it's the only way I could get to her video.
I might make an Instagram after that. I don't know.
That was brilliant.
Yeah, I thought she was very funny, and I thought it kind of sums it up, doesn't it? Because all of those things you've sort of heard at some point, I think. I thought, anyway.
Yeah, she was spot on.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Catz.
I was going to say, I particularly like the toilet paper comment. You know, don't go out and pull by toilet roll. Right. You know, but do buy some.
I like the one about drinking. You could start drinking at 10 in the morning if you're teaching children, and if you're not teaching children.
Yeah, she was good.
All right, well, that's a good one to wrap it up on, and we've been going for 2 hours and 6 minutes. Oh my God, I'm going to have to do less clips next week, aren't I? So we should probably bring it to a close, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just at that point, my laptop crashed.
Oh, there you go.
So I can't see the bloody ending bit. Hang on,
you don't know what you're going to say now.
That's all right, I do. It's all right. I'm scrolling there quickly on the other computer.
Okay.
So I'm all right. Don't worry. So everyone stay quiet in the Hangout, please, while I get this done. So join us again for more fabulous flatness. In the meantime, if you see something that you think should be included in the show, please post a timestamp link in the comments section of this video. Or join our Discord server. The link is in the description, along with channel links for tonight's panel. Our Discord has nearly 2,000 members, and we managed to keep a conversation going virtually 24/7. We welcome members with opposing views, so click the link and join us. Thanks again to tonight's fabulous panel. Thanks to Conspiracy Cats. And thanks to all of you for watching. We'll be back around the same time next week. So until then, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share this video. Have a great evening.
Someday I promise I'll learn.
Shut up! Shut up!
Stop talking about it and do something! Suck my dick, Earth, with that bullshit.
Really?
It's like a gentle hate.
Do we have another benevolent service? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Are you benevolent into your friend?
My name is Logan Paul, and I think I'm coming out of the flat earth closet. This is so fucking depressing. I can't be a flat earth person. You can't have it both ways. You can't have a flat earth and things making sense.